Hi everyone, today I would like to discuss about the industrial incident. Next, our industry accident is about an explosion of the Naga National Berhad TMB. This accident is located at the power substation in the Taman Seri Jati, Jalan Klang Lama. The accident is happened when 23 February of 2015. When the accident happened, it was 10:45 p.m. There are three people involved in this accident, whom are Muhammad Rozairi Ghazali, 30 years old, Muhammad Zaidi, 35 years old, and Norizan Abdullah, 58 years old. Next is the damage and loss. First of all, the explosion is happened at the TMB substation. This explosion was bring a big damage to the victims, where there are two victims is bad injury and one victim is died in this explosion. When there was electric fault, arc flash will happen and finally cause electrical explosion. The explosion was happen when the workers are working maintenance. The body of the workers were burned almost 80%. Then the workers were disfigured for life by burning damage. Moreover, it also brings the indirect injuries to the victims, where the muscle, bone, and blood vessel of the workers impact by burn damage. Apart from that, it also damage to the respiratory system. Then this will bring the respiratory failure. Apart from that, the explosion also bring a damage to the property, which were machine and the buildings. Then this will waste the money to maintain the building and the machine. Moreover, the accident also bring a destruction to the environment. When the explosion happen, the chemical substance in the machine will burn and pollute the environment and pollute the air, which will harmful to the human and the environment. Both human and the animals may pollute by the pollute air, which can be deposited to the plants in soil and in the surface of water. From here, we can know that this explosion bring a big damage to the environment and also human and animals.
To avoid the accidents from happening again, the analysis of hazard and assessments are important to do it. To analyze the accident easily, the high-risk form are applied. In this slide, we show that we use the high-risk form to analyze the accident that we study. In this high-risk form, we found that there are five factors that cause the accident happening. The first one is the maintenance work conduct at night. The working area was very dark and the light was not sufficient to do the work. Therefore, the employer should ask the employee to install the light around the workplace. Secondly, unsafe work practice and install was also one of the factors. It will cause the electric shock and eventually cause injury or die. This is because the employee is doesn't have a lot of experience. So to avoid the accident happening, the employee should provide a prior training to employee. The third point is the unsafe equipment. PPE is very important to avoid the accident happening with lower the probability make the accident happens. Therefore, employer, employee and employer should make sure all the equipment are in good condition instead of getting problem. After there is lack of emergency treatment of an worker. Like just now we say the employee is no doesn't have a lot of experience, so they cannot respond to the accident immediately. For example, let's say in this case we study if there are a worker who switch down the switch immediately, the victim may be able to recuse from that. The last factor is the worker or workplace was in wet condition. We know that the water is a good conductor. It will make the short circuit. Therefore, the worker or we say the employee should make sure their hand is in good condition. That means it's dry.
Workplace safety is necessary for every employee in the industry because all the workers desire to work in a safe and protected atmosphere. Health and safety are the key factor for all the industry in order to promote the wellness of both employees and employees. It is a duty and moral responsibility of the company to look after the employee protection. Before things go south, proper safety plan should be put into place by management and also by all the employees. Consequently, suitable prevention methods should be applied in order to prevent the accident from happening again. For this incident, the first and foremost prevention method is personal protection equipment, as you all know, PPE. PPE is equipment one to minimize exposure to hazards that may cause the injuries and illness in working place. PPE contains several items in it such as protective helmet as head protection, eyewear, earplug, dust mask, safety glove, waist clothes, shed pants, protective boots, and sometimes respiratory protective equipment. For electric works, cotton protective clothing with long sleeves should be provided that can cover most of the body part, and most of protective gear will be made from the electric insulated material like leather or rubber. According to the report, the victims in this accident suffered average 80% burn to their body and limbs. There also a picture of burn vests that did not suitable for electric works. Next, the employer, no matter if it contractor worker or not, must have proper safety training before starting the work or maintenance. According to Section 15(1)(c), Act 514, Occupational Safety and Health Act (OSHA) 1994, and Machinery Act 1967, the provision of such instruction, training, and supervision as is necessary to ensure so far as if practicable, the safety and health at work of its employee. It concludes that all employees in any sector must have an emergency response training or ERT certification to work. Last but not least, the employee must behave and show good manner at workplace to ensure the Act 154 Occupational Safety and Health Act or OSHA 1994 also states that it shall be duty of every employee while at work is number 1, to take responsible care for the safety and health of himself and of other persons who may be affected by his act or omission at work. Number 2, to cooperate with his employer or any other person in this discharge of any duty or thereunder. And number 3, to comply with any instruction or measure on occupational safety and health instituted by his employer or any other person by order this act or any regulation made thereunder. Thus, it is also important to have an experienced employee to be in charge and lead the worker to obey the OSH guidelines and instructions. Environment of the working place should be clean and tidy. Arrange the equipment and tools in their place accordingly. Limit the usage of unnecessary items in one time and avoid place flammable equipment near heat source cause it can produce spark and will likely start fire or explosion. As conclusion, in this report, we are doing case study based on the news with the title 3 Injured in TNB Substation Explosion. The TNB Substation explosion happened at Taman Sri Jati, Jalan Klang Lama, Kuala Lumpur at about 10:45 p.m. while the 3 of them were working on the maintenance. There were different levels of injuries in electrical explosion. 3 of the victims were in bad condition. The victims were burned due to the electrical shock. When an accident has already happened, we need to manage the risk as soon as possible in order to avoid the accident from happening again. There are 4 steps in the risk management process, which are identifying the hazard, assessing the risk, putting in the place control measures, and reviewing the outcome. With the hierarchy form, we can easily to analyze the accident. From the hierarchy form, we found that there are 5 factors that cause the accident happening. First of all, the maintenance work was conducted at night. At night, the working area was very dark and the light was not sufficient to do the work. Besides that, unsafe work practice and installation, and an experienced worker cannot respond to emergencies. After that, unsafe equipment. The worker should make sure all the electrical equipment used are in a good condition. In addition, lack of emergency treatment of a worker. When a worker can respond it immediately, that can be avoided. There are some ways to prevent the accident happen, which is personal protective equipment, as we know is PPE, must be provided. With the PPE, it can help the employee minimize exposure to hazard that may cause their injuries and illness. Besides that, the employee must have proper safety training before starting a work or maintenance. The provision is necessary to ensure the safety and health of employee. Last but not least, the employee must behave and show good manners at workplace. That's all from our group. Thank you.